This is our main title screen. It is interactive with the Oculus Rift. The user can move around and select options such as the controls, and the player can also begin the game from this screen. When the player begins, they start in a room. They see a key, it'll open the door for their cell. This will teach the player intuitively how to use the keys to open locks on doors. The user will see another red padlock on another door, indicating that a red key must exist somewhere. In this first hallway here, the user will see a regular zombie, but then when the player goes into the main hallway, the user will see a zombie we call the Weeping Angel. The Weeping Angel only moves towards the user when the user is not looking towards it. This means the user will have to devise a strategy that involves them staring at the zombie while avoiding it. In this next room, the user heads towards another open cell containing a normal zombie AI, which actively always engages the player no matter which way the player is looking at it. In this attempt, the user tries to trap it in a cell block, one of the strategies that the users can employ. Unfortunately for the user, he does not successfully trap the player, or the zombie. But he does obtain the key. The user moves onwards. He realizes that he has the red key and heads back to the red cell, noting a yellow padlock on the side. The player is cognizant of the Weeping Angel and continues forward. There was not enough time to show the rest of the footage, but I'll show some simple pictures. Here is our simple zombie AI running towards the player. Here is the main cafeteria room with lots of Weeping Angel zombies. Here is a weight room with a key the player can collect. And here is the security room. Note the TVs on the left, and last door on the right. And once you pass through that door, here is the windscreen with dancing zombies. Thanks.
All right, the combination of all these things, the AI, the game mechanics, and the environment came together to create a game where the user tries to collect keys, the keys open doors, and eventually they get... Hi, I'm Alyssa Nelson.
I'm Reid, Gill.
I'm Schnars.
I'm Gogonis.
I'm Raul Barahona.
And our game is called Scare Zone. It's a virtual reality game that uses the Oculus, where the user navigates through a prison in order to find an escape.
And our design process can be divided into several different parts, including the art style, which includes models as well as sound design, and gameplay elements, such as our key and lock component, which uses a trigger AI mechanism, and our actual zombie AI. These different parts went through different iterations through our design process. They started out as pen and paper written designs, and eventually grew into fruition designs that were actually implemented in our game engine, Unreal.
Our development process consisted of kind of a pseudo-agile process where we met up every week and kind of had a sprint cycle each week where we would discuss what our game's current state is, where we want to see the game go next, and based on that information, we would divvy up tasks between the members and go off and work for the week. To manage our project, we used GitHub to keep a good version control going, to secure our data and make sure that we don't lose any very valuable files or information during the process. During our process, we did various playtesting cycles where we would reach out to kids at Infinity Hall and we would say, hey, would you like to try our game at its current state? The kids were always very interested because of the use of the Oculus Rift. Um, Speaking of the Infinity Hall, we did most of our development in the Made at UF room because Infinity Hall provided us with Oculus Rifts to use whenever we wanted. Um, this environment made it very great for collaboration between all of us because uh, we could all meet up and use the Oculus on a big computer screen, and it was very easy to exchange ideas and discuss the current state of the game.
When beginning development of the game, we had to focus on the architecture of our maps. In the beginning, we envisioned using a forest-like open world level, but quickly this had to change because we realized the user might feel nauseous if they stayed using the Oculus too long because it's still new technology and people may not be used to it. So we ended up settling for a prison level. And what we focused on for this level is making it small, but making sure the passageways were big enough for players and users to easily navigate. We wanted to make sure the experience would be about 3 minutes long, very simple, so the user would not become fatigued from using the Oculus too much. We also imported some Oculus VR templates for the user, which allowed them to adjust their head placements in the game. This was very useful because it allowed us to fully scale our world in a proper way so that it could fit users at many different heights. Um, and ultimately, we were able to achieve a map that was very small, very user-friendly, and kept the experience relatively short or relatively long enough for a user to not get too fatigued. In addition, we had to be very careful with how we made a menus for this game because the Oculus Rift doesn't work really well with traditional menus. So instead, we had to make a 3D menu which the user could interact with by clicking on 3D buttons. And this was very useful. Users found this very cool. It was very interesting, they said, to see the 3D controls popped up on the screen, and they really enjoyed that. So ultimately, we focused on a small map and an interactive menu that really made the game interesting and fun for users.
All right, so for our core AI functionality, we implemented two types of AI. The first one we called the Angel AI, and the inspiration from this was from the show Doctor Who. Basically, what happens is when you look at the enemy, it does not follow you. But when you look away, the enemy will start attacking you and following you. Our playtesters found this AI to be really fun because it snuck up on them, they weren't expecting it, and they just could interact with the enemy in a way that they haven't in other traditional games. And it worked well with the Oculus technology. The second enemy we have is called what we call the basic zombie. Essentially, it works how you would expect a regular zombie to in traditional games, where it'll follow you, it'll attack you, and when you're not in range, it just kind of wanders around. In order to implement this, we used decision trees, behavior trees, we use Blackboard architectures, we use A-star pathfinding, and just various AI technology. The actual implementation had a lot of variables that we could set, so we could tune through playtesting, we could tune the speed of the characters, their aggro range, so how close you can get to them before they attack, how far away from the spawn they can be dragged until they return, and various other features that just through playtesting we were able to tune in and really get it to where we wanted it to be.